Welcome to Liberty and EDC. I'm your host, Daniel Norman, and we're here with George Osborne, who's running for the Director for EID Division 1. That's
Correct.
right? And I think I heard that you're currently our longest running board member.
I've been there a little over 19 years.
Wow.
I was elected in a recall in 2001. There was a recall election, and I was getting ready to retire, and so my quote friends said, "Hey, we really want you to run for the EID board." 19 years later, here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before we get into the waterboard stuff a little bit too much, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who's George Osborne as the person?
Well, I live with my wife of 57 years in Camino. Mm-hmm. 2 daughters.
Wow, 57 years?
Yeah. She's put up with me for 57 years. 2 daughters, 4 grandsons.
Congratulations.
And retired from, I've been in Camino 25 years. Mm-hmm. Retired as a chief of CAL FIRE for Amador, Dorado, Alpine, and Sacramento County. And I was in the fire service for 41 years. Also was the chief of Cameron Park and Pioneer Fire District and under his CAL FIRE contract. And one of the reasons that these individuals came to me to run was if you go back, you're probably young enough, not old enough I should say, to remember, but about 20 years ago, every edition of the Mountain Democrat was how screwed up it was. It was getting sued by the state. The regulatory agencies were killing them.
Oh, the water board or just our...
The EID in general.
Oh.
And it was it was a mess. Mm. And so they said, well, you've got extensive background in management. Well, my job prior to here, they pulled me out of the field, and I was the chief of management services for the southern region of CAL FIRE from Sacramento to the Mexican border. Personnel budgets, accounting, capital outlay, construction, law enforcement, and whatever else they threw at me, And so I did that for almost 4 years, and then I said, I really want to go back out in the field, and so there was an opening here, and then I grabbed it in a minute, and love it, and I'm not going anywhere. Mm. So
awesome.
But that's why people said, I said, well, first of all, I don't know anything about water and sewers and hydroelectric power and recycle water and all that stuff. They said, no, we want somebody that knows management concepts to overlook what's going on there. Mm-hmm. And so and when I got there, it was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. Well, for example, our workers' comp costs, our safety record were so deplorable that our workers' comp costs were almost $2 million a year. And that's in 2001 medical costs, okay? And so I said, we're going to institute a mandatory safety plan, and every general manager since then has said that is one of your priorities. You may have 3 priority ones, and that's one of them. And today, our workers' comp bill is $268,000, and today's medical costs, and our insurance company says we're the safest public utility that they insure.
Wow, that's
in
awesome.
The state.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
that's great.
There was just a plethora of things that were just not managed well. And so
tell us a little bit about what does a director for the EID Water Board do?
Well, your primary thing is to set policy. Okay, and improve the budgets, improve the capital outlay plan. That's another thing. They didn't even have a quote strategic plan when I got there. Everything was ad hoc.
Oh.
Well, now every year our 5-year capital outlay plan is updated, and we'll have an update in next meeting. In fact, and so we know and it's all those things are set by priority. Reliability, mandates, and a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But then, as the board president, you've got additional duties of working with the general manager on the agenda, and the general counsel on the agenda, and then there's always the infamous paperwork, that the board president has to sign, when resolutions and all kinds of things that come along. But in general, your job is to set policy, oversee the district, set guidelines for the operation, get involved with the operation. That's not your job. That's not a director's job. The director's job is just to make sure things are going right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're setting policy, what are some of the biggest things or most impactful things to people in the community that you are setting for them?
Well, our primary goal is, on the water side, obviously, is safe, reliable, healthy drinking water. That's our mandate.
Yeah.
And everything we do is driven to that objective. Now, there's ancillary things on the sewer side. Obviously, we don't want raw sewer going down the streets, so you have to maintain, and there's a tremendous amount of legalities in the sewer side. Lots. And then we have
those legalities. Are those set by the state?
Set by the state and the federal government both. And so there's a lot more legal issues with the sewer side than the water side, but how you treat it, how you dispose of it, and everything else. And of course, we have a large recycle water program in El Dorado Hills predominantly. And it's front and back lawns, which is rare. A lot of places have recycled water, but it's for their golf courses and everything. They irrigate the golf courses too, but now it's front and back.
People can get it for their lawns too.
For their lawns, in the front and back of the house. And then we have hydroelectric and solar fields to offset our operating costs. And of course, you all enjoy Sly Park and Caples Lake and Silver and all those. That's our recreation department, and it's well run, really well run. And so, but again, all of these things mix together, and that's an interesting thing about EID. There's a lot of water districts or sewer districts or recreation districts, but we've got 5 business plans.
All under EID.
All under EID, and those 5 that I mentioned.
Yeah.
So the good thing about it is if there's a need for extra labor, we can pull people from here, and so we've got resources that are trained and adaptable to do a lot of things. So.
Wow.
But anyway, I think I overreached your question, but
no, it was great. So you're going for Division 1, right? So what area is Division 1, and how many other divisions are there too?
Well, there's 5 divisions. Mine is very rural. And that's part of my vision is we keep it rural. I have a lot of the ag lands, and my big supporters are the ag community, of all of our ag community, from the grape growers, the Christmas tree farm growers, the fruit growers. All of them are very supportive of me. Great. And one of my mottos is roots, not rooftops. And we want to keep. I have the division goes basically, if you were to conceptually take a line north and south at Boa Vista, and head east, go through Camino, Pollock Pines, Sierra Springs, down through all the way down through Pleasant Valley into Diamond Springs. It's a lot of turf, but not a lot of people, and so. I have to move around a lot.
So kind of this horseshoe around Placerville?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then Mr. Rafferty comes in up from Placerville into Camino Heights, and that's it. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Each division in the last, every 10 years we have to do a division adjustment, and there was 22,000 voters, or 22,000 people in each division. So that's how it came about. Okay.
Now, you said your motto is roots, not rooftops. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, we have to maintain really reasonable ag water rates. Now, I'll give you an example of what happens if you don't. In San Diego and southern Riverside, years ago, there used to be huge avocado orchards, and somebody came along and said, "Oh, they ought to pay all the same price for water." Well, they did, even though avocados, my understanding, is a pretty profitable crop, it put them out of business. Now there's roofs. Now there's subdivisions. If they can't grow crops, they're going to subdivide it. And so what we need to do is to maintain really reasonable ag rates, and I'm a big supporter of small farm, even to a point encouraging people that raise livestock for commercial work to be able, and there is a caveat to that though. And I think it's a matter of equity. If you are an ag person or a small farmer and have a residence on there, you pay the first 2 tiers domestic or residential rate.
Okay.
Like anybody else, like
oh, right. So that's like what they're using at their house.
Yeah, exactly. And then if they go into the 3rd tier and they're on it, then they go into the ag rate. So they got to be a pretty responsible agricultural endeavor to do that. And then they have to come in and there's standards to justify how you apply, and it's not just to say I want to do this.
Right.
You got to have there's
I
criteria.
want a better water rate.
yeah. There's a criteria to meet it, but we need to protect this middle of the county. From El Dorado Hills to the forest boundary is a lot of open rural land, with the exception of the right around Cameron Park and Placerville. The environs around those two.
Yeah.
And but the rest of it, if we
so if we don't have good water rates, like we could say like goodbye to Apple Hill or stuff like that, or and we have a lot of great farmers markets and everything in
the employment that Apple Hill brings and the taxes to the county. I've always said that EID is not an island, because what we do has a huge impact on what goes on in the county.
Yeah.
For example, maybe you'll get to this in a little bit, but there was a movement afoot after we bought Sly Park. The state wanted to shut down swimming and boating and.
I remember that.
Well, I went to the legislature and got a bill through the legislature. I said, "You realize what this would do to the economy of Pollock Pines if Sly Park was shut down?"
Yeah.
And people come up there, they buy gas, they go to the fast food places, and they go to Safeway, and so and all that employment that goes along with that, plus the sales tax that goes to the county. And in addition to that, what would you think would have happened to real estate prices if that would have happened?
Oh, right, yeah.
So that helps, keeps the real estate prices up in Pollock Pines and even Camino and even in Diamond Springs. Not Diamond Springs, but Sheriff Springs, and even, I suppose, Diamond Springs too, also.
Wow. Yeah, you never think about how much water rates and protecting the water is, like how important that is, how that affects everything else.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, no, it's a real challenge because people want. There's some people that think we should have the same rate for everybody.
Right.
And it's not going to work.
Now, so I think we've kind of already talked about it, but I haven't asked you specifically. Is there any direct platform issues that you're addressing?
Well, obviously, clean, reliable, healthy water, and that's a big issue, and protecting the ag community. Also, we want to really protect our recreational facilities because they, again, bring in a lot of revenue to the county. And I'll tell you what, I've been talking to some of the real estate people, and people that said the real estate market is really good. I mean, people are coming out of the cities and they look around and they say, man, we can go to Sly Park, or we can go to Union Valley, or we can go to Ice House, or we can be in Tahoe in 45 minutes. And the real estate prices in Pollock and Camino and have really improved in the last couple of years.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else that you want to add before we start talking about, contact info and stuff like that, if people want to get involved?
One of the things I would really like to, and this is kind of tooting my own horn a little bit, but
go for it. That's what we're here for.
My biggest accomplishment when I was as a director here is myself and former director Frazier, who's now deceased. We went back and forth numerous times to Washington, D.C. and negotiated the purchase of Sly Park for EID and the citizens of this county.
Who did we end up purchasing?
We bought it from the Bureau of Reclamation, federal government, and people said, "Oh, it'll never happen. You can't do this and everything else," because there was only at the time a handful of places have been transferred to local government agencies.
Yeah.
But the key is, besides we paid $11.5 million for it. And some people said, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Well, that's about 20 houses anymore, you know." But at any rate, that was the water treatment plant, all the campgrounds, all the conveyance system, everything else. But the most important piece of it was 41,600 acre feet of water that belongs to us, not the federal government. We control it, and we control it, and that was a major component in us being able to manage during the drought. In fact, we were even selling water during the drought. We started selling water in the drought, and we get additional revenue, which we offset rates and our bonds and everything like that.
Wow.
You know, and this year we'll sell, we think about 5,000 acre feet for, I think we're going to bring in between $1.5 and $1.75 million selling water that we can't use. But we're constantly going out to get more water rights. And it's coming right by our door.
Is there any other bodies of water in the county that you guys are trying to get right now?
No, because it's the only one that we own. Caples and Silver and Echo and Aloha. Okay, from our purchase of Project 184.
Oh, okay.
So we own those 5 big lakes, but the biggest reservoir is Sly Park, and it's the most manageable one because the other ones are at 8,000 feet.
Oh, right. So, yeah, they're way up there.
But through our conveyance system, we could keep Sly Park full. And so, anyway, I have to say that was my biggest accomplishment, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know Sly Park's a popular place around here.
Oh, it's jammed every weekend.
Yeah. They always got that sign up in the summer. It says campground full.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what makes you want to do this job? Like, what's your why?
You know, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the interaction with people. I've been in public policy with CAL FIRE for years, and public policy comes natural to me. It's not anything difficult. I just enjoy doing it. It keeps me busy, and I like being involved with my neighbors and what's going on in the community. I've been in Placerville Rotary for 23 years, and so I just like interaction with people, and interaction with ideas, and there's always something new coming along, and so I guess the answer is I enjoy doing it.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, George. We really appreciate it. Now, where can people go to find out more about your campaign, or other things that you've done while you're on the EID board, or if they want to contribute, like they really like you? Well,
my website is Osborne, OSBORNE 4, the number, safewater.com.
Okay.
And but I've got some great endorsements. Sheriff DeAugustini, he is right on top.
Awesome.
Ex-Congressman Doolittle, and I will have to say, without Congressman Doolittle's help, we would have never got Sly Park. He was a major help to us. So.
Wow.
But anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for inviting me in.
Yeah. And so thank you for watching. This has been Liberty and EDC, and you can catch us on Comcast Channel 7 here in El Dorado County, and you can also catch us on YouTube at Foothill, or youtube.com/Foothill7TV, and we'll see you guys next time.
Do you need excavating and trenching? All Good can handle it. Do you need brush and land clearing? All Good can handle it. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, you'll be in good hands. For all your excavating and demo needs, give us a call. 530-344-3417. 530-344-3417.